How about Coach of the Year in the Cleveland Browns with Joe Flacco, Kevin Stefanski?
Wow.
Hey, Q, I know that you were a big fan of all of these winners. What were your thoughts on Kevin Stefanski, the year that he had with 4 different quarterbacks still making the playoffs?
Yeah, Kevin did a great job. Well, the NFL, I think, missed on almost every award, but this one.
What?
Which ones?
I mean, how does an MCDC not get this award?
MCDC, then people would say D'Amico Ryans.
I mean,
it wasn't even Shane Steichen wasn't even a finalist.
What other
What he
awards?
did in Indy.
Who's voting on these, though?
well, the other award was Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, the internet.
Well, we're going to get to that, obviously.
Yeah.
We're going to roll
I
through
think
that.
Assistant Coach of the Year.
Schwartz.
I mean, Mike McDonald was pretty good. All right.
What do you think about the head coach of the year? Stefanski.
MCDC. I think he's good. I think there was better.
4 quarterbacks, AQ? 4.
Great job.
He bring Joe Flacco. He takes over
Detroit almost had to move the city to another country.
But going in Detroit.
And now Eminem's the biggest fan on earth, right?
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, they're doing some good things.
After Foxy.
You're right.
Right, Foxy?
Eminem's been a big fan. People, he didn't just come along lately.
Busy.
Yeah. All right, so you're saying that there was a lot of good candidates, and those who won last night weren't the ones that you would have picked.
No.
All right, let's go to Offensive Player of the Year, shall we? Offensive Player of the Year, congratulations to Christian McCaffrey.
Good one.
You didn't like this one.
That's a good one.
You said every award.
It's a good one.
Okay, so the Offensive Player of the Year has become the player that could win MVP, but the MVP is a quarterback award because we're paying the quarterback $60 to $70 million a year, so they are going to be our MVPs as well whenever we're talking about the league as a whole. Christian McCaffrey, game record as soon as he got to the San Francisco 49ers, Ty.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were very good without him, and then, his first game, he ran for a touchdown, he caught a touchdown pass, and he threw a touchdown. And he basically hasn't stopped since then. I mean, it feels like every single week, like McCaffrey's good for at least 150 to 200 yards and a couple touchdowns. He's amazing.
All those weapons on that team, all anybody says is you got to stop 23. You got to stop McCaffrey, and then everything else falls in place. Pretty obviously much easier said than done, D-Bunch.
Yeah, and it starts with the offensive line, obviously, but Christian McCaffrey, for all those studs that offense has, like you said, from day one, he was the guy, and it's still going to be that guy coming in this game. You stop 23, you got a good chance. Now, I think it was a good choice that he won that award. I think Tyreek Hill was probably the only other person in that conversation. Slowed down a little bit towards the end of the year, but if he would have got 2,000 yards at a receiver, it would have definitely been a toss-up. But Christian McCaffrey definitely should have won that.
Niners are in a Super Bowl.
Yep.
That helps.
Yeah, it does.
That absolutely helps this entire thing. Christian McCaffrey, big topic of conversation for the white versus black team, AJ Hawk.
Yeah, I guess that I could see how that would be a polarizing subject with CMC, but I think think what he can do though, for real. Whatever Christian McCaffrey reminds me of watching him play in college. What he's able to do in the NFL still, like the dude can be so dominant. Imagine if you're playing man to man, you got Christian McCaffrey, he's in the backfield. Okay, cool. This still sucks. He motions out to the slot. This really sucks. Now the guy's a 12-way go on me. I need some help over the top. Yeah, like just you want to create matchups, and when you have a guy like that, it's a matchup nightmare.
He runs so hard too, which used to be to his detriment. Remember, he would hurt himself because he'd be flying into 4 or 5 different tacklers, or he'd pop a hamstring because he's trying to hit it into a 7th gear whenever he's already going. He plays with a reckless abandon too that I love. Even though he's always in control, he never cops out. He's like the perfect football player.
Yeah, and it feels like a lot of running backs, like to stop them, you have to stop their momentum in the backfield, penetration, stuff like that. It feels like when teams do get penetration, like it does, because of the zone scheme, he can pick, he always picks the right hole. Like his vision's unbelievable.
Grew up in this.
Yeah.
Remember, he literally grew up in the Shanahan operation through his dad and everything. And he is, from a family perspective, been put on this earth to be a professional athlete.
Yes.
For sure.
Both sides. We saw that bloodline family tree.
Yes, we did.
God.
Didn't we?
Yes, we did.
How about that tree?
Imagine
Thick.
that in the sphere.
Yeah.
Just going, that would have been crazy.
Yeah, it would have been better than whatever they had going on.
Could have just read the
That's what his press
bloodline's
conference
bloodline.
But you think about that bloodline tree, and you think to yourself, damn, they were literally put on this earth to be professional wrestlers.
Yeah.
If they were to do that with the Christian McCaffrey family tree, same thing. It was fastest, strongest, endurance through the roof. Like Christian McCaffrey, freak athlete. And his little brother just made some big plays down at the Senior Bowl as well.
Yeah, he's next.
And I don't think he has to do Senior Bowl, Combine, Pro Day.
Right.
Somebody's going to get that guy in a building.
What's his last
McCaffrey in a building. Exactly. That's going to happen. That kind of comes alongside of it. But I think that is a family that I would like to have migrate into my team at some point.
Well, and you mentioned it. I don't think it gets talked about as much, but he deserves a lot of credit he basically has been healthy almost the entire time he's been a Niner, and we've seen a couple of those tackles where it just looks like it did in Carolina. It's like, oh no, he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks just because he's so explosive, and he's for the most part been healthy ever since he got to San Francisco.
He landed on his head.
Yeah.
This last twice, bounced on his head twice. I go to the sideline. I need to, my whole. Defensive player of the year. This one, highly debated.
Big time.
But we'll say, absolute monster.
Yeah, he is
Miles Garrett.
Oh,
I watched the Miles Garrett show in real life at Lucas Oil Stadium, the Loud House. He took over the game. He didn't only take over the game, he took over the entire stadium. The Miles Garrett chants that were raining down on him. He literally had the place in the palm of his hands. What a showman, what a game, what a year for Miles Garrett. But there's a lot of other people, AJ, that, JJ Watt's brother, TJ, actually didn't even go to the award show.
Ooh,
So I'm not going.
They've done co-defensive player, co-players of the year, haven't they?
I hope they never do that again.
I don't think they should, but I wanted to ask AQ for real. Like a guy, Miles Garrett, TJ Watt, as an O-lineman, what do you have to, like, legit, the game plan is them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're game wreckers. And listen, like when you look at both them on film, they're both game wreckers. They're both incredible. It's just this has to come down to stats, right? Like this is.
Well, stats TJ has, doesn't he?
That's my point, right? That's why I think you got to lean that way. But when you watch Miles Garrett on film, he's unblockable when he wants to be. He's literally unblockable. You could send left tackle, chip, plus slide the guard there, and he beats all three and gets a sack.
So is the defensive player of the year now just like pass rushers?
yeah, just sacks.
Essentially.
It's almost like the quarterback.
Is the MVP?
Yeah. You're the best pass rusher on one of the best defenses.
Because what? Bland broke a record this year.
Right.
You got one
Bland.
vote?
But Aaron, right? Aaron never leads the lead in sacks. He just has 15 sacks.
Well,
D tackle, which is super important.
The voting was Miles, TJ, Micah, Max, and then I think maybe Bland
Wayne got one vote,
potentially.
I think it said.
So it was all edge rushers. This is potentially a thing that's going to have to become like best pass rusher of the year versus defensive player of the year.
Now, so if they change those names, though, everybody's going to be pissed about it being gimmicky.
Sure.
You know, that'll become like a full thing. Because if they do best pass rusher instead of defensive player of the year, then people are going to be like, oh, this is bullshit. We're just making up awards. If we do the whole got their groove back award, seemingly, is what you're saying.
I like that.
It's like they're going to be like, this is a gimmick award. You know, they're kind of damned if they do.
NBA did it. They made a few different awards. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, with some other guys.
Change the designs.
What?
It used to be safety.
You're
right?
telling Roger Goodell the NBA did it, and that'll.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, because Roger Goodell, remember, he went in on Christmas Day and said, this is ours now.
My day.
Well, yeah, Troy and Ed.
Like a
Troy and
sack.
Ed won a
Yeah,
bunch.
it was.
I mean,
There was a ring of safeties
James
there for
Baird,
a while.
There was Ray Lewis.
But that's modern NFL, though. Like,
It's
MVP
a
used to not just
Bijan
be
won
quarterback
anything?
every single
Right.
time. Oh, Bijan, I think just walked by. Hey, we would give you the ball more. Oh, oh.
Trying to tell him.
Let's go to the MVP of the NFL season for the second time. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to Lamar Jackson.
Lamar.
Everybody kind of thought this was the case, obviously going into the evening, but also like for the second half of the year, it felt like it was going to become Lamar Jackson's MVP to lose. His stats were nowhere near what they were the first time he won the MVP, but that team was so dominant, and he was the clear leader of the squad, which is why everybody assumed he was going to be the winner.
Yeah, he was one vote away from unanimous. 49 first place votes, 1 second place vote.
Wow.
The other one was for Josh Allen, I believe. I don't know who voted or whatever.
Sal.
I saw a picture of him.
Sal Kabach.
That might have been Sal
I saw a
Capaccio.
picture. Guy, I can't remember his name.
Who did the vote?
Yeah, and then, I mean, I can see why you give him that vote. Once you get in the stats, Brock Purdy was obviously in this conversation for a long time throughout the year. But once you put together going into the playoffs, and I don't know when do they wrap up the voting?
I think it's regular season.
It is.
Okay, regular season. So yeah, during the regular
But
season.
once again, I think we should change that.
I agree.
Agree. But they were beating the shit out of like good teams, you know, by multiple scores. They were just a wagon throughout one seed. So I think Lamar definitely earned this award.
We agree. We're on your side. I don't think anybody would be upset about it. But if it did go to somebody else, people would understand as well.